Hi, I'm Theo. In the past 20 years, there has been tremendous progress in the field of scientific engagement with the public. Just the budget, for example, of the EU has doubled for science dissemination. The number of registered events just in Europe, science festivals, have increased from 5 to 113. There have been podcasts, there have been science theatres, science cafes, festivals. But at the same time, we're living a huge anti-vaccination movement with deaths from measles in the US, in France, and in Greece we've got the first death of an infant in 25 years because of fake news. Climate change deniers are still strong, and there is time if you want to still make it. There is a conference in Colorado on the 15th of November for the flat earthers. But why is this all happening? If you look at the evaluation data of all these dissemination events, who goes there? 80 to 95% are already friends of science. We're inviting our friends to come and attend these. So how can we target the absolute general public? What can we do? Well, only if we go where the public is, to the means of public transport. Hence, we started with the metro stations, and we founded Mind the Lab from Mind the Gap, which is a science festival taking place at the exits of metro stations. Scientists bring their own most engaging experiments in one day or in a year, and they show their work. And we measured the following. We piloted in Athens in 2017 and 18 in 8 stations, and we found out that we had, out of the 100,000 audience who passed through, 12% stopped and engaged. So the reach of this activity is almost digital. The same number for the Sao Paulo metro would be 1.5 million people. Secondly, in the 3 minutes that they gave us, they're not going to change the world, but the completely scientifically literate might be motivated to look further into something else, like a museum, a book, a podcast, or something. In addition, we measured several other things with questionnaires. Don't look at the graphs, just the titles. First of all, that Mind the Lab attracts people from different backgrounds in comparison to a science festival in Orange. Secondly, that the majority of people, of course, they were passers-by. Nobody had planned to go there. And thirdly, when we did follow-ups, questions, that they can boost people's interest in science and technology. So what is next? Well, we piloted, as I said, in Athens. As we speak today, Mind the Lab will take place in Berlin in 5 stations. Between 2 and 8 o'clock, you can visit. It's within Berlin Science Week and in collaboration with Paul Drude Institute and several other academic partners. It will also take place in Madrid in December and in collaboration with the University of Edinburgh in January there. We're also discussing with Austin and Sao Paulo. But the vision is to make it as global as possible. It is scalable, it is easy to fund because the reach is so high, and scientists bring their experiments and show them to the public. And then the vision is to take it to Africa. We had a request to have Mind the Lab at bus stations from Ghana, to take it to other areas which are less privileged, etc. At this point, I can, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I've got a finale, which is basically sorry. Yeah. I have a question. Yeah, please.
Did you check whether these 12% who actually stopped and listened to the scientists, what is their background?
Yes, this is where we go to the graphs, basically, and here we are. If the bar at the bottom is that they're non-science related professionals, and in comparison to the orange, which is the science festival. Now, we live in the era of exponential technologies. It's in the next 20 years, there will be more developments than in the last 200,000 years of Homo sapiens on Earth. It is our privilege and obligation, to engage with science for everybody.
I was wondering, is there a program to find out where is anything happening, or is it just sort of pop up and You
It's
don't
by
have much
request.
organizational effort.
It's by request, and we should have a Mind the Lab Day next year, which will simultaneously happening in several cities to create momentum. Thank you.